The game is Subterfuge. Today is day 16. According to the time machine, which only lies most of the time, I will have won the game in 5 hours. But earlier on, as I was backstabbing him, I promised Ace that I would do a debrief of the game. So before the game has ended and the fog of war has listed, I will take this all the way back to the beginning, more than 2 weeks into the past, and try and talk people through what has gone on here. This may be split over a number of episodes. There are a number of different battles and a few random musings to talk about. So to start off, this is not a conventional game of Subterfuge. This was unusual in a couple of ways. It was started immediately after friend invitations were added to the game, which made it possible to invite people that you'd played with before, even though you had no idea who they were. I was invited by Ace after having had a good tussle with him in a previous game where I'd managed to overcome him by the skin of my teeth and then stormed victory. But this is unusual in a different respect because Ace has set it up as a domination mode game, unlike normal Subterfuge where you win by mining Neptunium from your underwater bases. This game can only be won by controlling half the board. So it's full on diplomacy, but unlike diplomacy, this game has 10 players and 100 bases. To win, 50 bases. This is going to take a lot of time. So, as luck would have it, I've started next to Ace, and despite the fact that I ran all over him in a previous game, he's quite apparently convinced that we can use our tactical skills to work together and hopefully secure a victory. And looking at my initial startup, I have Ace to my south, who we've agreed to go friendly with. I have to my north a bit of a desert, so not too much to worry about there. I have to my east quite an expanse of generators, which will be useful in the long term, but not so useful in the short term, so I'm hoping that whoever is to my east won't really be that bothered with getting into a fight over a whole bunch of generators that will make it difficult for them to consolidate. But to my west there is a nice swathe of factories, and I reckon that I can get to most of them before this pink bloke here does. And if Ace has a similar setup to me, he'll also be able to help put it into pink territory. So for the first part of this broadcast, we go to mission 1, defeat Douglas. At this stage, my naive strategy of the domination mode was fairly simple, that stabbing your ally doesn't seem to be a particularly good idea because you're wasting the drillers and production capacity between you while the fight's going on. It's much more efficient to keep working together, because at that stage the two of you will have full production capacity. There's nothing to be gained from slowing your ally down as long as you are working together. It's a classic prisoner's dilemma, and it's even better than that because as long as both of you are alive, you're both producing specialists. The only way that a stab could possibly be justified is if you had a hypnotist and were able to capture all of your allies' specialists and thereby quickly take over all of his capacity. So potentially people with a hypnotist you should be wary of. But otherwise there appeared to be absolutely no reason to break an alliance, because two people working together are going to be a lot more efficient than one person, even with double the production capacity. So straight off I head west, And Pink has kind of botched this a bit because he's sent subs to my bases. I point out that I'm there first. He kindly turns them to gifts, which I have every intention of sending back into his face as attacks. Up to the north, Brown has. I've also played with him before in a game where neither of us did very well, but we've sort of indicated that perhaps we could all work together with myself and Ace down here. So, and as you can see, Pink is busily decided to attack Brown, so that's looking like a natural alliance. So now I've stacked to Mets. I've built a foreman to temporarily increase my production capacity. That will then be turned into an engineer and get thrown forward with healing, like so. Pink is a bit upset, but I have no intention of doing diplomacy because in order for domination mode, you have to knock people out. Ace, meanwhile, is pretending to be friendly with Pink, has gifted that first sub there in exchange for a gift of a princess somewhere off screen, but that gift is only temporary. Everything else is attacks. At this point, Pink Douglas has now thrown a double agent and a pirate interview. That's kind of terrible because the double agent will take out the large attack sub I had intended to load my engineer and infiltrator on. So there is only one way to get around this. Spammy, spammy, spam, so that the double agent can only take over one of them. Well, at this point, Pink has pretty much cracked it and decided to give all of his stuff to Brown Aviator. I'm really not sure how to pronounce that guy's name. So this is something that I'll come to in a future part of the broadcast, but suffice to say that Mission 1, Take Over Pink, has gone well. Pink has cracked it. I have a large number of factories, and I've even donated one of my factories here at Varuna to Ace because he has. Oh man, somewhat gone to the future already. Back to day 3 or 4. Anyway, Ace has a tycoon and therefore better production capacity, so it makes sense for him to have more factories, and I've in turn, as you can see here, given him a tinkerer that he's turned into a Minister of Energy. So that's teamwork in action 101. I'm still way in the wrong place in terms of time, but that'll be it for episode 1.